It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tyrone Lowe. I'm your host. The show is called The Legends, and I want to thank everybody all over the world that actually subscribes to my show and show me love. And I'm giving it right back to you guys because without you guys, there wouldn't be no legends. In the House of the Legends, I have somebody that's quite interesting, quite informative, and also she has such a reach of status, and then her name is Peggy Dodson. And my co-host today is going to be Ray Pinky Velazquez. Welcome to the Legends.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Tyrone.
So Peggy, I mean, I read your bio, and I'm like, wow, I'm so fascinated. But before we even get into the current events of it, let's talk about the beginning for you. Growing up in Arkansas, things like that.
Wow, growing up in Arkansas. Well, my dad and my mother were entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So actually, I grew up in a musical family.
Okay.
So my mom was the mom of the church, as the mother of the church. And she was actually a promoter, a gospel promoter.
Okay.
So I grew up around Reverend James Cleveland, the Gospel Volunteers, and all the people like that.
Right.
And when I was real young, Aretha Franklin came to our church. And it was so interesting how I was real young, but I felt a presence from her.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the presence of God. I don't know. It was so.
The spirits were high.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I found out later that we were all related.
Wow. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
we're all related. The Ross family, in Detroit, Motown.
Right.
So I have some roots in Detroit and Motown. So yeah, because my mom used to hang out with Aretha Franklin, and then I didn't even know it. So
Wow.
so it was, it was apropos that we started out in music.
Okay. So I see you inherited your marketing strategies through the trend of them being entrepreneurs,
Yep.
in a sense. So how did you actually, as a kid, how did you adapt to that?
Well, my daddy put me to work. My mother put me to work.
Uh-huh.
We had, my father was a master plumber.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my mother had a restaurant as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Dotson's Diner, and then we had Dotson's Plumbing Company.
Okay.
And then my mother did all these things on the side. So it was, so I answered the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Dotson's Plumbing Company, may I help you? And then I worked with my daddy.
Right.
And it's, when he had wrote out those checks and stuff,
Right.
I was right there.
So you were tax deductible.
I was right there when he was like, okay,
Okay.
making the checks out and stuff like that.
Right.
But I learned discipline at a
Okay.
young age.
Right.
And I learned how to dream and be fearless and to just go for what I want. My parents were very supportive of me. They have
That's
been.
great.
And always. My mother didn't want me to move to New York because, but my father, he said, you live your dreams and go for it. Because
And surely you did.
yeah, because I wanted to do more. I
Right.
wanted to do more. I wanted to sing.
Okay.
I was a singer and musician.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to go to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to college, I was at the U of A, University of Arkansas in Fayetteville.
Okay.
So we took a theater trip. So I was on scholarship. I had a vocal scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
I had a music scholarship. And I was actually at that time playing Dorothy and the Wiz.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I actually auditioned for that part and got it
Mm-hmm.
and went to New York. And Diana Ross was playing, she was actually filming at that time.
Okay.
She was filming the Wiz.
Mm-hmm.
So the Ross family is related to us, both sides of my family. So
Wow.
I
That's
actually
amazing.
got a chance to meet Diana Ross while she was filming Sidney Lumet. And I decided at that time that I wanted to move to New York because I wanted to pursue my dreams
Okay.
and being a singer. I ended up doing a lot
So
of
as a
things.
singer, what genre of music were you really into?
The classics.
Okay.
The classics. I mean, all singers start with classics.
Right, they do.
They
They
start
certainly
with
do.
Broadway, and then you go to the classic jazz. So
Right.
I became a jazz singer, pop singer, sort of like that. And I had mentors. I had a
Okay.
great mentor on the way, and so I moved to New York and auditioned, and I went to the paper one day and I saw this audition for this group, this girls group. And I went in and auditioned, and it was the Shades of Love with Lonnie Johnson and all that. I ended up being
Shades of Love.
Shades of Love.
Body to body?
Lisa
Okay.
Fisher. I ended up singing with Lisa
Isn't that
Fisher.
amazing, right?
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
Just incredible,
Lisa
her
Morgan.
story.
Yeah.
So I ended up being in that group and
Right.
learning the professional, being a professional recording artist.
Right.
And that was just a whirlwind for me.
Okay. Ray, you got anything to add to
Yeah,
it?
Peggy, obviously you had something pulling you, and a lot of it is your family background, your father, your environment pulling you in a direction. And curious, UBC-TV, the Urban Broadcasting Company, what brought that to life? And what's the vision? Where do you want to take it? What's your...
Well, for me, it's about telling our stories
Yeah.
and having the ability to get our stories out, in front of the masses. And I felt that was the issue with us, because we're always not able to do so. I mean, like what we're doing now, we're telling our stories.
Right.
I have fought for that for years in Congress. I went to testify in Congress and to get more equality in storytelling, because before in the networks there was that ceiling and you could only go so far. And we had producers and directors that never represented our culture. I have friends who were on sitcoms, and they would fight with the producers, big time names, people, because of the dialogue. They would say, "This is not how we talk," and then the producer would say, "This is how we're writing it. Either you write it or you go get another job."
Oh, wow.
So I mean, it's a lot of things that happen on the sets of a lot of these
red tape.
shows.
Yeah.
And so the goal is to begin to tell our stories authentically from us to us.
And as you move into the future, you kind of fine-tune that and make it a little bit more realistic for the audiences to absorb the truth behind, the shows.
And getting
the
us
filming.
to write our own
Sure.
dialogue.
Absolutely.
But-
That's important. It's really from the beginning to the end. I don't mind mixing up the production team,
Right.
but the story has to be authentic.
Right.
And as we know now, authenticity is what is in
Right,
now.
exactly.
Formula casting is out.
Yes.
Because we represent, we have a $1.8 trillion buying power, just African Americans. And you combine that with the Latino market, the Asian market, we are the consumer. So if we are the consumer, then we have to be able to control what stories are being told and how they're being told.
Right.
You don't do an episode of Seinfeld in New York City, which they got a backlash from, by the way, one time, and not have any people of color or anybody walking down the street that represents New York. New York is a melting pot.
Right.
So
Right.
you can't get away with those things anymore.
So when you voice your opinion on these matters, how do they actually receive it?
They actually like it
Okay.
because when you get to a certain level, people need to hear the truth.
Right. Most definitely.
And I've been blessed to be in rooms with CBS and Verizon, and I would go into a conference and I'm the only black girl there. And I've said, well, you guys talk about equality, where are the people?
Right.
Where are you? Where are we?
Right.
And they said, Ms. Dodson, you're right. We got, and they said, well, we only hire the people that we know. And that's the problem. You have to get outside that circle and meet other people and begin to, see other cultures.
Right.
And so they I have a way of talking where people listen to me.
Were there any sense of intimidation dealing with that matter, with that circle?
Intimidation for me?
Yes, as you being the only black,
Probably.
female. I'm just saying because I mean, sometimes the reflection is like, wow, I don't believe she said that, and
Oh yeah, I've been in a room where
you know what I
where
mean.
I've been in a room where
When the confrontations just seems to just dwindle a little bit, and they try to mix up the emotions and things like that, Right now, society is built on a lot of that right now. And when you have a strong voice, especially like you, it's just not even a strong voice, but a strong mindset to make that visualize, I think that's pretty awesome.
yeah, well, someone has to do it.
Right, okay.
If I get the opportunity to do those things, especially when I'm in a room where I'm hearing major networks talk about, and I won't mention the network because
Right.
I won't mention that, but a major developers room, and they're saying how they create their content is they go out and get hoes. I've actually had someone say that from a
Okay.
major,
Wow.
major network,
Wow.
and they probably forgot I was in the room because there was, no one of my color in
Right,
the room, and
right.
that always stuck with me when he said, "Well, how do you create your new shows for your network?" He says, "We just go out and get a bunch of hoes." Swear to God. So that's where the
Classy.
stereotypes come, and those were the stories, and we have to be more discerning as well. We
Yes.
can't just be so excited because we're on TV,
Right.
to accept everything that's given to us.
That's true. That's true.
We have to have some discernment about how we're being represented, because that representation goes through millions of people, and it affects us. One of my colleagues who works at a major news network, she says, commercials are the ultimate brainwashing because you have 60 seconds to influence people,
Right.
and it influences people psychologically. So we're in a psychologically emotional people. It's still about emotions. No matter what we do, it's always about emotions. It's always about storytelling, whether it's a minute or 10 minutes or a half hour or long form. It's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And that story has to be told.
You're telling me like the Insights has a lot of political issues,
Yeah,
as far
almost
as
definitely.
what's going on.
Sure.
It's like a control issue with them, which I feel that's not really professional, because how can you be in a room of people and say we're going to get a bunch of hoes?
That has always stuck with me.
That's very unprofessional.
It was very unprofessional, but it's how certain people perceive us.
Right.
And that's what we have to change. I mean, that has always stuck with me. And I could tell you things that have happened to me where I was in a room and no one was talking to me, and they were speaking to the gentleman I was with because he was Caucasian.
Right.
They thought he was the CEO until he said, "She's the CEO." They thought I was his secretary.
Really?
But I just sat there and I just quietly just said, "Okay, no one's going to talk to me."
Wow.
And I said, "Okay, they're going to talk to him. That's fine." And he was laughing because he said, "Well, that question you have to ask her because it's her company." And it was a group of
And
investors.
what was his reaction?
They red faces, beat red,
They didn't need makeup.
Peggy,
beat red.
Peggy, cultural diversity is big part of your platform with UBC TV.
Yes.
But for the audience that's watching the show, what is it? What is the Urban Broadcasting Company? the
Well, you know
network?
what? Well, we're gonna take a little break, and we'll be right back. You guys stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
We got some fun people in the house tonight.
This is our house.
I'm your host, Tyrone Lowe. The show is called The Legends. And in the House of the Legends, I have Peggy Dodson and my co-host, Ray Pinky Velazquez.
Peggy, getting back to my question, cultural diversity
Yes.
is a big part of the urban broadcasting company as
Yes.
far as how it puts things together,
Mm-hmm.
and and I know that a lot of it is centered around live productions,
Yes.
as compared to just video on demand, but and that's part of it too. But um, question for all of the listeners out there: break it down. What is the Urban Broadcasting Company? What is the what does it entail? Uh,
UBC-TV actually is me, my passion to make change,
Right.
to get our stories out there,
Mm-hmm.
to give our people an opportunity to produce, direct, act, create, perform on the highest level that we possibly can,
Okay.
and to create original urban lifestyle. I went with lifestyle content because I have my model is a broadcast model. I grew up watching broadcast TV. So when cable came out, it was cool, but it was themed.
Right.
So for me, when I watch TV, I like to watch comedy, drama, and different things like that. And I
Diversity.
feel that we as a people reflect all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept the lifestyle because lifestyle is actually, when you're dealing in production, it's easier to film.
Mm-hmm.
It has longer legs. So we have shows on fashion. We do food shows.
Mm-hmm.
We have a comedy. We have live. We have sports
Right.
and things of that nature. And my goal was to create original urban lifestyle content that's distributed over multiple platforms. So I've had the multiple platform thing for a long time. I was like one of the first in 2000, long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the cover of Black Enterprise. Me and two other sisters. We were one of 3 Black women in technology.
Okay.
So I've always known that technology would eventually level the playing field, and break through the legacy media that has kept us down, because we were fighting to get on. To get on the networks.
Okay.
I mean, Bob Johnson once told me, he said, "Peggy, you want to start a network, you need $500 million."
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay. So I did the famous Amos thing and said, start where I am.
Right.
You have to start where you are.
Right. Right.
And you can't. I couldn't wait until I get $500 million to do it, because I knew that the story was the most important thing. That we had a lack of avenues to get our stories out.
Okay.
So that's what urban broadcasting is. It's creating long and short form content and distributing it over multiple platforms, which is now people are looking at content everywhere now.
I'm going to rewind it back a little bit. We're going to talk about Team Black America.
Okay. Okay. It's Teenage America, yes.
Yeah, you were actually part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to tell the viewers about that?
Well, my mom put me through the pageants
Okay.
thing for a while.
Right.
And in Arkansas, so I was in a few pageants, and I was first runner-up for Miss Teenage Black America.
Wow.
And I actually sang "Killing Me Softly." I taught myself how to play guitar.
Okay.
So I play alto sax. I play a little keyboard, and I write music and stuff. But I taught myself how to play guitar.
Right.
I love Roberta Flack. I got the chance
Yes,
to
she has
meet
a- One
of my
Roberta
favorites, too.
Flack.
She's a very, very
Oh my God.
mellow artist. Yes.
She actually is a folk singer. Roberta Flack is just, I love her. She's a living legend. They are still here.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they're still here. So I played "Killing Me Softly," and I guess it worked, and that happened. And
Okay, that's cool.
yeah.
Very nice.
She's killing me softly, yo. My question to you is that there's a lot of people watching this show, and getting to know you as being the person that you are, being an entrepreneur, a dream maker, a person that actually pursued a lot of things. And we haven't even touched surface on some of the things that she's actually done. But what can you say to them to actually encourage them to step ahead, even if they might go through the highs and the lows and things like that?
Never ever give up.
Okay.
You never know when you go to the batter's box.
Right.
If you keep missing the ball, you never know that next one could be a home run.
That's right.
And if you give up before that time,
Right.
then you would never experience that. You would never have that experience. So one of my, Burl Walk, who's passed away, he was my Jewish godfather. He said, baby, never ever give up. Never ever give up. Live your dreams, because so many people have left here not accomplishing in life what they wanted to do because of fear of failure.
Right.
I have failed so many times. I've lost money. I've went in bad deals, been taken advantage of, the music industry, the business.
Right.
Because I'm a black woman, it's twice for me.
Yeah.
People, first of all, don't take me seriously because I'm a woman. Secondly, they don't think African American women are smart enough to do anything.
Or
So I
strong
have
enough to do it.
I have to go toe to toe. I can go toe to toe with anyone.
Right.
Just like when you do
Through
the
your
four,
experiences, of course.
through my experience.
Okay.
And so I call it doing fours. When you go and you do
Right.
the ad lib, you get four bars here. That's what I do. And so I've had to become. You got to become better than everyone else at things.
Okay.
You have to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
You do.
You have to believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's never a straight line where you want to go, but you push. You push, and you get feedback from the universe, and you move with that.
That's true,
And
thank you.
over time, you've become Peggy Dodson, CEO, and
Or Pinky, the legend.
there you
That's
go, or
Pinky.
something like that.
You are a
yeah.
legend. You are a legend.
Thank
He
you.
is
Thank
a
you so
legend.
much. Thank you
You
so
are a
much.
legend.
Thank you for that statement.
Yeah,
Peggy,
go ahead. Go
one
ahead,
little
man.
question for Peggy. Where do you see yourself with what you're doing? What's your vision? Even though you're on this train, where is it headed? Technology's moving fast, faster than speed of light right now. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now with what
And
you're
before you
doing?
do that, I like to even add on to that. Would the marketing strategy be the same, or it has to be actually upgraded?
Oh, definitely. Marketing strategy is upgrading itself as we speak.
Okay.
I look at myself on UBC being a international, I call it 360, a conglomerate. Not in a conglomerate in the sense of being a corporate, like greed or anything like that, but different components.
Right.
For instance, right now we have just signed a deal to do a record label. We're doing something with Universal for global distribution.
Okay.
So we have the ability now to distribute digitally.
Okay.
And I'm launching the first shopping channel. We're doing urban shopping where, because we buy. Why can't we purchase and help one another?
That's right.
And put our products and services on internationally. And so we're doing that. I'm doing something with iHeart as reference to a radio station. We're venturing off into film distribution. And I'm also expanding to Africa. I have a major deal that we're working on with DJs Without Borders, with Black Coffee. And
Mr.
dance
Coffee,
music,
yeah.
Wonderful.
house music.
Wonderful.
So we're getting ready to do some
Strictly.
things
Strictly.
So
Yeah.
you're expanding on different avenues.
and creating a concert series
That's
where we
kinda
have
cool,
like
man.
CeCe Peniston, and where we can create our own concert series. We can film it, produce it, distribute it, market it, merch it, and it's a cycle, like a mini Motown,
Right.
but with that major global distribution and with TV and film involved
Okay.
immediately now. So-
Do you also help people develop their status of LLC and corporate, and also their copyrights towards their productions?
Yes,
as well?
yes. We're actually, I was talking to Pinky about that.
Okay.
Hopefully he'll be involved with us. We're going to be doing a series of music, like a music conference,
Okay.
talking with Koja Bento from Motown, some of my mentors, pulling
Right.
everyone together where we could actually be able to teach the young kids the industry, because they don't know.
Right.
The way the industry was set up and where it has been set up has just not been right. People have signed wrong deals. I mean, I
Right.
remember the time when Kool and the Gang had a lifetime deal they had to get out of for life. That's not fair. You need to be able to understand contracts
Yeah.
and things of that nature, know how to market and copyright your intellectual properties. So yes, education is another component. And we also have UBC Small Business.
Okay.
So Small Business TV is about having events and having television that speaks to us about investing in gold and silver and commodities and things of that nature, because in real estate, because we have to put that $1.8 trillion buying power somewhere. We don't have equity.
Right.
We cannot sit at a table. It's better now than it was before, but I'm still attending major conferences where I'm one of a few African Americans. I'm part of the sports video group, which is ABC Sports, NBC Sports, ESPN. I'm still the only black girl there in a room full of white guys with bald heads who run the sports TV
Right.
industry. And they look at me, oh, that's Peggy. Oh, okay. I had to kick the door down and get into there
Okay.
because you have to be invited.
Right.
But they hear me. I talk to them and tell them, there's a brother there from TNT, from TBS. I run into him, but there's very few of us at the top.
Right.
And the ones of us that are at the top, we have to be more vocal
Right.
and not back down because it's our culture that they're perpetuating,
Right.
that they're packaging and putting out. So we have to just be able to not be afraid. And I think that time is coming now,
Right.
Yes.
where the industry actually is cleaning itself out, thank God.
Yes.
And we can move forward with,
Yes.
with more equity and inclusion.
Right.
Yes.
What I admire about you the most is it doesn't change your characteristics as far as a person. You be around all these people, and all of a sudden now you know that you're there, but you seem to change into the image like them. You know what I mean? Nothing, no discretion or anything like that, but people has a tendency of how they say, selling their soul.
Yeah, too many people, and you see how that's backfired lately.
Right.
I have never sold my soul. I've always been the outsider.
And that's
I've
that's
always
good
been the person that's
admiration,
spoken
yeah.
up, and now it's put me in a position where, I'm able to rise, and we're just beginning.
Okay.
We're at a plateau now where we're just really getting ready to get out there, and I've been able to work on some investment capital. And that's been a big problem with most of our businesses and our companies of color is lack of capital, or when the capital presents itself, you have to sell out. I will tell you a story. I will tell you a story, a true story, that happened to me in Midtown Manhattan. And I'll tell it in 1 minute.
Okay.
And so one of my mentors, my angel investor, brought me to a investor that, they funded Oprah, they funded this and that and that. And Midtown Manhattan told him, sit down, venture capital, private equity, told him my story. And he listened to me and he said, Miss Dodson, we can raise about $50 million for you.
Wow.
But he leaned over to me, he says, but you're not gonna own anything.
Oh, okay.
So there was a pregnant silence for a minute. And I said, thank you, but no thank you.
Okay.
But that's how they get you. It's the fine print. You have to sell your soul.
Right.
And I refuse to do that. So now I don't have to.
Yeah. The whole
Well,
vision.
it's been
Yeah.
a pleasure having you on my show. Ray, thank you so much for
You're
co-hosting.
very welcome. Very welcome. I'm honored. Very honored.
Me
I'm
too.
honored. I'm honored as well.
I want to thank everybody that actually tuned into this, and I hope that everybody got something out of it. This has been another T-Lo video production, and you guys tune in for another episode. And I thank you guys.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.